after Endgame, it all started really sucking. And then I saw Quantumania, and that was the last straw. I was just like, this sucks. This fucking sucks. Can't believe how much this sucks. It just wasn't well written because it seemed like the writer that they got to do it didn't give a shit. And even like listening to behind the scenes interviews with him, he even seems baffled as to how he got the job. Like, how the fuck did you get this job? People would kill to have this job. And you're acting like it just sort of fell in your lap and you don't even care. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine. We can talk a bit about that if you guys want. That was another thing where people either loved it or hated it. You know? Because of course, like I said, nothing can be just okay. I thought it's a fun time at the theater. I did enjoy myself. I was having a particularly bad day. And at the end I was just like, initially I felt like I was too busy to go see a movie, but then I was just like, you know what? I need cheering up right now so bad. And Deadpool and Wolverine's out tonight. Maybe I'll just go see it and then I'll be in a better mood. And I did. And I wasn't disappointed, honestly. I enjoyed myself enough and I laughed enough and I smiled enough. You know, it obviously has problems because it's a fucking mess. But Disney Marvel was already a fucking mess. You know? It was already in shambles before Deadpool and Wolverine came along. But what Deadpool does through the character of Deadpool and his sort of fourth wall breaking nature, he can come along and point at the mess that Marvel's in and be like, look what a fucking disaster this is. Isn't this hilarious? Let's make fun of it. Let's just make a movie out of this mess that is a mess in itself, but it doesn't matter because, you know, the whole franchise is in shambles anyway. And I guess the argument against it would be like, well, why waste time making a movie that just points and laughs at the wreckage Marvel and Disney is in? And why not instead just make a sweet movie that has integrity? And like, let's just start from scratch and then just start taking this seriously again. You know, just do that instead of making a movie that just plays in the mess that is Marvel Disney right now. Which I can understand. I understand that argument, but I did enjoy the Deadpool movie, and it's easy to understand why they would take the comedic opportunity to make that film. You know? Like, I can totally see Ryan Reynolds seeing the state of Marvel and being like, you know, it would be great if Deadpool came in and just sort of made fun of everything and we took advantage of the mess that everything's in and used the TVA that was established in Loki as sort of a vehicle to get Deadpool and Wolverine where we need them so we can see them together. I mean, I feel like too much of like the ridiculousness is being laid at the feet of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie when it was, like I said, it was already a mess. And the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, that was established by Loki. So that was already, the damage was done. You know what I mean? So Deadpool was just like, let's just use that to tell a story that's ridiculous and funny. I did find it funny. Although not every joke landed for me. Probably sounds hypocritical coming from me writing a show like Arby and the Chief, but I did find a lot of the humor just juvenile and sometimes too graphic. Because it just felt weird hearing that from a superhero movie, like jokes about cum and shit. I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this. It's funny, I guess, but like, I don't know. It just didn't sound right coming out of that movie a lot of the time. Some of the raunchy humor was fine. I mean, I get it. I mean, that is Deadpool's character. It just sometimes it felt like a bit too much, and I was just like, oh my god, like. But it there was nothing that was bad enough to make me like hate the movie or walk out of the theater or anything. Like I was quite enjoying it in spite of just some of the jokes not landing for me. Um, and then and you know the actors are so good at playing their respective characters, you know. And I remember Hugh Jackman, like he was saying on all his press tours that he announced his retirement, and then he saw Deadpool, and he's like, "Shit, like I just announced my retirement, but I haven't done a movie with Deadpool yet. Ryan Reynolds, I get along with him. He's got this um superhero thing going with Deadpool. Deadpool's a great character. He's perfectly complementary to Wolverine in a really entertaining ways. And it's just like, wouldn't be it be great if they had a movie together? And then it was nice to hear Hugh Jackman calling Ryan to say like, "Hey, I would love to do this if you want." I'm just like, that's cool. I'm glad they came together to do this. And you know, it's like it would be nice to see the two characters in a movie that took itself more seriously and had more integrity and stakes. But that's not the film's fault. And it's not even the bad Marvel films and shows' fault. Cuz like the multiverse was like the beginning of the end. And you know there are movies that handle the multiverse elements really well that have come out of Marvel. But it's just like as soon as you do that and you have items like the time stone where you can just undo shit that happened, it's hard to get invested because you know at any point the writers can just pull whatever out of their ass to bring back somebody from the dead. You know, it's like nothing really matters that much. Like if somebody dies, you don't feel anything. It's just like, well, they're dead for now, but they'll probably come back at the end of the movie from the time stone or whatever the fuck, or in another movie. I mean, it's the Deadpool and Wolverine is so batshit. It's like Chris Evans shows up as Johnny Blaze, and it's just like, Jesus, what the fuck are we doing? So like, we're really just steering into nonsense here, and you have to just enjoy it on that level if you're gonna enjoy it. I mean, I'm not saying you have to. It's not gonna be everyone's cup o' tea, but um, I wanted to have a good time at the theater. I wanted to see those two characters together. I wanted to see a movie that at least had somewhat of a flow to it, and it does. It's just there's no stakes because everything's just so ridiculous and silly. Um, it had some cool stuff in it. Some of the cameos were cool, even though it's just like they're silly cameos, but like it's nice to see some characters return. You know, spoilers, okay? I don't know who's seen it, who's not, but I'm gonna be talking about spoilers. You can switch this off if that's a concern. But I really like seeing Blade show up. I'm just like, that's fucking awesome, dude. Because Blade is a dope movie. The first Blade is great, and it has one of the best like opening scenes I've ever seen in a superhero movie. Where like he shows up at the blood rave. It's so fucking good. And Wesley Snipes killed that role, man. So it's nice to just see him part of the universe after all this time. Um, and it was fun seeing Elektra too, frankly. I mean, I don't think much of the Daredevil movies, but like those movies came out so long ago. It's just nice to see them after so long and appreciate the work that they put in, you know? Cuz superhero movies at the beginning, they were struggling to find a footing, you know? And like tie each other to themselves. You know, it's like they sort of trickled into pop culture awareness, and they were sort of standalone, like doing their own thing. But then you'd have a movie here and there where that suggested a link between the two, and then Marvel came along and did the whole cinematic universe thing and basically turned movies into comic books, which is cool. You know, it's nice to have. I mean, I was a fan of the Marvel movies for quite a while, and I think it's cool to set up a universe like that where we can do the origin stories and then move past all that and not have to regurgitate the same stories again and move on to more interesting, substantial stories where we even mix characters together doing crazy shit. I thought that was really cool. But I mean, after Endgame, it all started really sucking. And then I saw Quantumania, and that was the last straw. I was just like, this sucks. This fucking sucks. Can't believe how much this sucks. It just wasn't well written. Because it seemed like the writer that they got to do it didn't give a shit. And even like listening to behind the scenes interviews with him, he even seems baffled as to how he got the job. Like, how the fuck did you get this job? People would kill to have this job, and you're acting like it just sort of fell in your lap and you don't even care. Like, I don't know how the fuck you get into a position like that. But yeah, so that was a shame. Everything sort of went downhill after Endgame. But I wonder if, beginning with Avengers Doomsday, that this is the start of, like... I mean, I did enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine, but, I mean, it's such a ridiculous film. You have to just enjoy it on that level. You have to enjoy the ridiculousness of it.